What's going on, YouTube? Today we're going to be taking a look at the 1/35th scale billion spark Zeta Gundam bust. So if you ended up seeing my live stream, this is going to be a more condensed and a little bit closer look up of all the runners and more condensed video. I hope you guys all enjoy. So without further ado, let's get into it. So we're going to start off with the instruction manual on here. It's pretty basic, and once you open up the box, it's going to look kind of crazy because there's going to be a ton of packets in there, and each of those packets are going to have parts. Well, they're all big parts, and if you compare the runner pieces versus, say, a master grade, there's actually going to be more in a master grade than there is in this. They're just bigger. Taking a look inside the instruction manual, your first 2 pages are going to be all of your runners. There's going to be double of some. You're going to have some separate pieces on here, and it may be kind of discombobulated when I end up getting to those. Those are going to be after. You have some metal pieces, you have base parts and base parts. You even get some photo etch with this. Pages 3 and 4 is going to be the beginning of the head, and you're going to have a lot of wiring that you're going to end up running through here. Here you get some photo etch parts. It's very cool, and I can't wait. If there's enough likes both on either the live video or on this one, I'm going to end up doing live builds of each of the sections, just so I can chit chat with you guys, answer any questions, and you guys can get a little more detail on how one of these goes together. If I didn't end up mentioning before, I ended up picking this up over at Gundam Central. There will be a link down below. Definitely check that out. So moving on, you get all these parts. You get metal pieces for the Vulcans on here. The V-fin, you get a inner frame for the V-fin. It's definitely interesting how this ends up going together. Like I said before, you get a lot of lighting. You get lighting that goes on the tail stabilizer. You get lighting that's in the chest, the head. There's a lot of lighting versus the Sananju that I ended up doing from them. Pages 5 and 6 is going to be building the tail stabilizer or backpack, however you want to word it. You can see on here how the wiring ends up being fed through, and the LEDs that are on there are really micro. A wiring harness that ends up going into here. Pages 7 and 8 is going to be working on the shoulders, the mechanical base. Pages 9 and 10 is going to be the main body, being the chest. You get a pilot figure, which is in several pieces that end up going onto the seat. You get the remote. Now, one thing that I didn't end up doing on the Sananju is I didn't even bother with the remote. I just flip it on. And this one, there's actually different actions if you use the remote. So yeah, build the remote, use it. One of the nice things is it actually includes batteries. You get for the main harness that goes from the base and holds the chest part, and you can see how the wiring ends up going through here. We're definitely going to have to pay attention to how that ends up going. You can see they do some finagling on here of crisscrossing of wires. You get the placement of the infrared receiver. Building this whole section right here is pretty much from the base into the chest cavity. Pages 11 and 12 is going to be adding the pieces for the shoulders, the rest of the chest over here, adding the color pieces. I would definitely suggest, if you're going to paint this, definitely watch your parts that go into each other. You may want to mask off the ends of those just so that you don't have any paint buildup. From what I've ended up seeing, this actually fits together very tight. Pages 13 and 14 is going to be building of a bunch of pistons, which are going to be for the base and different parts on here. You have the base part that this all ends up going together, and then it ends up sitting onto the base. So I've said base a lot, haven't I? Pages 15 and 16 is the final assembly, putting everything together. So you have this whole section, which you can leave by itself for display. And then you have this mechanical base that it ends up sitting on. One downside that I actually have from flipping through it is these lights that are on the mechanical base actually have individual batteries in there. So you just flick them on for the spotlights, and then this just sits onto there. It would have been nice if this actually like plugged onto there, and then these lights were powered off of the same USB that this is. I would also suggest, when you're building this, don't even bother putting in the batteries into the battery pack. If it's anything like the Sananju, they're going to run dead even being off. Just plug this into USB power and you're good to go. 17 and 18 is going to be all of your decal application, and sorry for the glare over here, let me get some of that off. But yeah, you get plenty of options for decals all over the kit, and they are water slides, they are not stickers. And the back page is going to give you all the information about the power and the circuit boards, the wirings, all of that good stuff. Going over the baggie that contains the electronics, we have 4 button batteries, which they are going to be powering these, and these go into the spotlights. Now when you end up getting them, these are actually going to be joined together, and you're going to kind of be looking at them like, okay, what is the deal with this? Why are there 2 switches? I initially thought that it was for the eyes, but you actually just snap the board, and these are going to be for the spotlights for the mechanical base. This is going to be the circuit board for the remote control. And I already put in the battery because I tested during the live stream about the batteries in there. It does come with one. And then you have your wiring harness. Now I'm not going to pull this rubber band off until I am ready to put it in there, but this actually works pretty good. This is the battery pieces. I think it takes 2 AA's, AAA's. It almost looks like AAA's. But we won't end up using those batteries at all. We're just going to plug it in USB. You have the USB plug right here. You have the switch on and off. You have the infrared switch right here. Now the parts that we have right here, you're going to have a bag full of screws. You're going to have 2 big circular pieces on here. You're going to have 2 smaller ones, and I believe these are going to be for the Vulcans. Then you have all these other pieces that are going to be for pistons, and these are actually metal. So that is really cool that that's included. Now, one thing I wasn't aware of when I ended up getting this is it actually comes with a small sheet of photo etch. And you can see the smaller dots that are on here are for detail pieces. You've got these, which I think they're either for the lights or they're for thrusters. I think that they're for lights, but I'm not for sure. I'll have to go over the instruction manual in more detail, but as we build it, we'll see that. You get more detail pieces over here. You get vent pieces. These go on the side of the head. You get pieces that are, these aren't for the chest. I think maybe these are for the skirts and for the head cameras on here. But very well done, very nicely detailed, and a great little addition. And yes, it's being blown out by the camera, but you get not just one sheet of water slide decals, which has cautions, fuel tank, more cautions, numbers, but you get a second sheet of water slide decals, which majority of them are white, but you get more cautions and just lining that will go all over. So, and they look to be of good quality, but like I said in in the video that I did yesterday, you're definitely going to want to use like a Mr. Setter or Micromark Setter, and the one that basically makes your water slide decals disappear, or the part that it's attached to. Because there is a lot of overlap and you may want to trim some of that down. So just keep that in mind when you're looking at these, trimming them out for placing them. All right, so starting off, you actually get the base for the mechanical base, which is pretty much exactly like the one that you got with the Sinanju. The difference is this actually has the spotlights on it, where the Sinanju didn't come with those. And I kind of wish it did. But yeah, so this is the base for that. Runner AA is going to be a big gray runner, and this is going to have parts for the mechanical base, the outside runners, some detail pieces. BB there's 2 of, and you have the arms for the spotlights, bodies for the spotlights. Runner CC you get 2 of, and again more parts for the spotlights and for the mechanical base. I like that there's a lot of detail to be added to it. Runner D, this is going to be the clear parts for the mechanical base, and these are going to be for all of the lighting that is on there, and a couple of clear pieces, and I haven't quite figured out where these end up going yet. Now the downside with the clear plastic that come with these kits, any of them that I've ended up getting from China, is they all have a haze to them. I don't think it's going to really matter with the light coming through, but it almost gives the clear pieces like a pearlescent color. And then this piece right here is kind of in between the base and the kit itself. This is going to be the bottom of the bust that sits on the base, but I'm adding it into the section that covers the base. All right, so here we are with the main body and head pieces in the runner form, and this is going to be runner A. You have parts of the head over here, faceplate part. I think these are going to be for skirts, but I do have to say I'm quite impressed with the lining detail. It's not too much, it's not too little. You have plenty of options to be able to add your own. The mold marks that are along here, there are some, but the back of a hobby knife will be able to scrape that off fairly easily. So yeah, looks pretty good. Runner A2 you get 2 of, and on this, both sides, you get pieces on here, and I think some of these are going to be for piston parts. And you do, like, I see a little ledge on here, but it's not horrible. Just like I said before, edge of a hobby knife will scrape that right off. You've got a mold line that comes up across here and across here. Runner B1, this is going to be in a kind of a light gray. You do have some texture on these pieces, which I believe are for the head on here. You do get some little vent openings on here, which are kind of nice. Again, the details are nice and pretty crisp on here. You get some piston pieces here, here, here. Yeah, looks pretty good so far. And on the backside though, the backside's not that cute. Like, you get a lot, but you're not going to end up seeing that, so it doesn't really matter. So on this is going to be Runner B2. This is going to be your pilot figure. You've got legs and a half of a leg here, head, arm, and the main body on here. Nothing to write home about, but you can always detail that up, paint that up however that you see fit. Runner C1, this is going to be your V-fin on here, and the camera's not quite picking it up. It looks a little washed out on the camera, and this is in a nice orangey color. It's not so much yellow, it's more orange. Looks very, very good. I like it. You can definitely trim up those edges, make them nice and sharp. These are going to fit over a plate that we'll get to here in a little bit. Runner C2 is going to be in that same color, and you get collar pieces on here, vent pieces, vent pieces, vent pieces, and a detail part. I think this is for the chest. Runner D1 on here, this is going to be in a nice red, and I'm trying to catch the reflection. I left reflect the lights where they end up reflecting on here for a reason, because with third-party kits, you know, sometimes you get a really bad texture. It is not bad. There is a soft texture on here, but it's not horrible. One of the busts that I ended up getting that was horrible. Runner D2, you get 2 of on here, and on this is going to be for the backpack pieces, and I think these are caps for the pistons, but little detail pieces. Runner E1 is going to be in your blue. These are going to be panels mostly for the chest and the shoulders. And again, you have a couple little sections like this little section right in here. There's some texture down here, but it's flat, so you should be able to sand that down fairly easily. It just looks off from the rest of the piece that's on there. The rest of these, I'm not seeing any big like dents and insets from the back sides of the mold, so that part is good. Runner E2 you get 2 of. Again, these are going to be in that same blue. These are going to be shoulder pieces on here, and I think these are for skirts. You kind of see on here, if we take a look in the reflection, you kind of see some little divots in there. It doesn't look that significant, so you're not going to have to really worry about filling that in. You can probably sand that down to level it out a little bit. Runner E3 is going to be in that same blue again. Runner F1 is going to be in, well, blue again, and some nice detailing on this part over here. And this is going to be for the chest part. You do get a seam line that runs across here, or mold line. You get the cockpit. This is the controls over here, and this is the back panel. Runner F2 you get 2 of, and again a few small divots. You can kind of see a little bit on this one over here and a little bit on the shoulder pieces, but it's nothing significant. I've actually seen worse on master grades. All right, so Runner H1, this is in a deep blue, like almost black kind of blue, and this one you're going to see a little more pronounced divot marks, like right here. The texture is minimal on there. I think, again, if you end up just lightly sanding this down, it should smooth that out. If you're just straight up building this and matte coating it, you're probably not going to end up noticing it that much. But with it in the state that it is, you're going to end up noticing that. Runner H2 is again in that deep navy blue, and these are going to be for the backpack parts. I believe that's what these are for the fin part on there. Again, some slight detail or slight texture on here, but minimal as far as the inset marks. It could be more significant, as you know, as big as those are. Now you get this piece right here, and if I hold it just right, you guys can see what I'm talking about with the clear parts that end up coming out of China. You can see how it's kind of opaque. It's not perfectly clear. But this is going to be the main hub between the base and the chest itself, and there's going to be wiring that runs up all along here, and then light is going to pop out in certain sections on here. So I'm kind of interested to see how that ends up working. On runner I, this is going to be more clear parts. Runner J, this is going to be a huge runner. And one of the things I'd probably suggest, save all these clear parts. You can use them for different projects down the road. Runner K, this one's kind of weighty. These pieces are going to be for the backpack and I believe for the skirts. Again, nice thick plastic. It's not thin. It does have that opaqueness, the kind of the pearlescence to it. But that is not intended to have pearlescence. It's just the way that it ends up doing. It's the way that they end up doing their clears. Runner L1, this is going to be in a soft blue. This is going to be for the base and I believe head camera. This is going to be a button for the controller, the other head camera on here, and pretty nice on that. Runner L2, this is going to be in a fluorescent green. One thing that I do like is their fluorescent greens really pop. And so yeah, you've got for the eyes and then other pieces that are going to go along the kit with some light backing. Runner M you get 2 of, and these are going to be in a light gray. And you've got miscellaneous pieces. I believe this is for the shoulder joints and other pieces around the kit. Runner N, I think this is for the backpack, but I am not for sure. It could be for the shoulders. But anyway, so this is runner N. Runner O, this is going to be, I think for that section that goes up the base. You get for the neck and other miscellaneous pieces around the kit. Runner P, this is going to be a huge runner, and this is going to be in a dark gray, almost black. It has a metallic sheen to it, it has some metal flake in it, but pretty nice. And I think this is going to be for the top of the chest where the collar pieces go. And this is going to be for, I think, one of the skirts. It kind of looks like a skirt piece. Runner Q again is going to be in that same dark metallic. There is a lot of piping stuff that is in here. These are going to be for the inside of the head. So those pieces that I showed you that the backside was kind of funky monkey, this is pretty much going to cover those up and give that detail because those panels do pop open. Runner R is going to be a couple pieces. I'm not sure where they go to, but again, same metallic black. Runner U you get 2 of. Again, same color on here. You get a lot of little, looks like piping pieces. The details could be a little bit sharper. I think these are for the joints on here, but the little details that are in there, just when you thought it was over, nope. All right, so here we are with Runner W. This is going to be the internal part of the faceplate, sides of the head for the frame part of the head, skirt pieces. Runner X, again, in that metallic black. You get the backside of the V-fins. So the V-fins are actually going to snap onto here. You get some cabling for, I believe, around the neck on here. Other little pieces all over. We'll see these when they get snipped off and cleaned up. Runner Y you get 2 of, and again, this is going to be in that same metallic. I think these are internal pieces for the shoulders. Looks like some vent pieces over here. And I do like, wherever these end up going, there's a lot of little piping and stuff detailed that's in there. So great for detailing and kind of making it separate if you decide to paint this up. Speaking about piping and wondering why they did this in brown, this is the only brown runner, and this has all of the piping. Like, look at all these pipes, and they're big. They're like, some of these are almost as big as my finger. So there is mold lines that are coming across almost all of these. Some of them are more pronounced than others. Usually it seems to be about the center ones. Back of a hobby knife will be able to take those off, and then like my sanding sponge types, just coming across that will clean that right up. But yeah, so that is Runner Z. But wait, we're not done. So how this ended up coming in the package, it was all bundled together as one. This is actually Runner G, and then you have a couple of separate pieces on here. So how I ended up pulling out of the package is they had this piece together like this. So this piece here is actually 2 separate pieces, which, I mean, it's not horrible, but if they pressed these all the way together, you could have had an issue getting these apart. But yeah, they come apart. One thing I do have to say is it's nice that the pieces fit well, but they're not too tight, they're not loose. And how come I can't get that back together again? There we go. So I'm just going to lightly press that together, kind of just to hold it, and then that's just going to sit under there. And that's probably your best way of storing it until you're ready to put it all together. But this thing is huge. Like, it's the size of a baby. And you get vent pieces and everything that go inside of there. Details are nice and great, and again, it's just huge. Did you think we were done? No. So in the packages, you had a couple of loose pieces which aren't on runners, they're just separate. So you have this, which I'm pretty sure is for the backpack. Backpack. You get these two pieces, right and left. You get this piece, which I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure all these pieces seem to go to the backpack part, except for this. I think this goes to the bottom of the base. So they have these labeled N3, N4. So that goes there. And last but not least, you get two pieces that were sandwiched together in a baggie, and there's all this. This is going to go around that clear piece that has all the wiring. This is marked as V2 and V3 down here. So that clear piece is going to sit inside of here, and then the lighting is going to poke through little holes in here. So sweet. All right, I'm tired after that. Holy crap. You'd be surprised how long it took me to sort these all out, lay them all out, and get them ready to do this video. I planned on doing this yesterday, and that did not end up working out. What I'm going to do, I'm going to edit up this video, get everything all done. If you're interested in this and checking it out, there will be links to Gundam Central down below where I ended up getting this. And stay tuned. Like I said, leave a comment down below, smash that like button if you want me to do live builds of different sections of this, and we will go from there. But I am super excited to get working on this. My plan is actually snipping pieces and basically breaking down all the runners. Snipping pieces for the head, the like parts of the chest, the shoulders, the backpack, all of that, bagging that all up, getting them all cleaned up, and then that way when I go to film it, I can just make it a nice, clean, precise, you know, basically snapping it together for you guys instead of sitting there and snipping it and sanding it and doing all that, because that is boring as shit. Thank you guys for hanging out. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and I will see you guys all in the next video. Peace out, YouTube.